To introduce you to the keynote Art of Autonomy, Tailored Tech for Tomorrow's Brokerage by Andrew Sachs, Chief Product Officer at TraderEvolution Global, who will show you how to scale your business without the extreme costs. Andrew, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and it's nice to be here at the London Summit. Good to see a very busy summit this year. So, welcome to the Art of Autonomy, in which this particular discussion, I will dive into the important facets that make your brokerage stand out, whilst having full control of your business. I'm Andrew. There's quite a few people here who probably know me, some who don't. I'm Chief Product Officer at TraderEvolution Global, which is a multi-market trading technology solution including a full back-end suite, leading-edge front-end trading platform, and mobile application, which every area of the trading environment can be reached from, and all functionality can be performed. The purpose of this particular workshop is to start to address some of the important matters that companies have been active in the electronic trading industry for quite some time now, and have really reached a certain level of development in their business. And that particular need is the need for autonomy. The need for autonomy has really driven a sort of. It's been driven by some of the challenges that brokerage companies begin to face once they get to a certain level of development, and they become relatively mature and well established. Specifically, companies that have been established for some time and have become somewhat mature need to have a little bit more control over the structure of their existing business and how they operate and the decisions that they might make. And of course, that's just not just now, but as they progress further and move into the future, they will need to have even more control and be a little bit more autonomous. I hope that during this particular workshop, we can all take away a little bit of food for thought and cover some interesting matters. So the first particular aspect of this is quite straightforward. It's really having control over your business. So in that particular section, when you're looking at having control over your business and how to be a little bit more autonomous in the market, one of the things to start asking would really be, is the core of your trading system back end first or front end first? So to give a little bit of background, over the years, the retail brokerage industry has gone through very few revolutionary periods. It's a relatively conservative development path. However, one particular notable example took place approximately 20 years ago now, when it became possible for people from outside the world of capital markets, who hadn't worked in this industry before, to make a relatively easy entrance due to the invention of platforms that offered a full service solution to go to market. And those had relatively low entry costs. There wasn't necessarily the need to develop your own or maintain their own trading systems wasn't there. These were off the shelf, completely ready to go solutions. This gave a rise to a whole range of new companies which challenged the establishment. And some of those established companies at the time are still big names now. They've been around since 1973 in the case of IG Group and things like that. So they were the establishment. Along came a whole range of new companies from outside the industry which were able to just get up and running quickly due to the off-the-shelf nature of the software they were using. So that latter type of company, the new ones that have come, they're now 20 years old or so, some of those went by the wayside and we now don't remember them, they're long forgotten. Others prospered, and the ones who prospered are now recognized names within the retail and electronic trading industry. So here we are now, 20 years after the invention of such platforms, in an age where some of these firms are now very well capitalized, they've done really well, and they've developed their business to a relatively mature level. They now need to move forward and become their own business with their own value, and they need to own their own business model. The technology that enabled this level of growth is also now mature and has been developed and has had extra things built around it for the purposes of developing its use cases. And an important point to consider is the crossroads at which many brokers now have arrived at, in which the ability to progress by looking at how total reliance on front-end first platforms can actually be a constraint. And now looking at a case for a comprehensive back-end system, either in tandem with an existing and familiar front-end, or as a fully independent solution, which then gives you the total control and empowers your business to address the demands for new products, or to scale, or to grow your business the way you want to grow it. So over the last few years, a relatively sizable number of brokerages in which their businesses have grown to this kind of level of development, where it's allowed them to reinvest in their future by developing their own end-to-end trading system. Some of them have actually done that. Some of them have built their own front end. Some of them built the entire platform and then branched out even further to establishing themselves as vendors and selling their technology to other companies. Some of them have developed their own front-end interface. So that kind of level of sort of moving away from the out-of-the-box solution and moving more towards having some form of distinct identity is because, to some extent, companies that have gone down this road are starting to identify themselves not just as a financial institution that offers trading services, but also as a fintech company. So if they're going to do that, they have to start to invest in the core of their business, in their core software. So TraderEvolution has solved this particular issue for many of its clients by providing similar advantages to having a fully comprehensive in-house system that your brokerage may have developed itself, with a full comprehensive platform, we have comparable flexibility, but without the time to market and resource requirement that it takes to build and support your own platform and back end. So, I mean, there are certainly some cases in which a fully front-end first platform may well be necessary, but whilst having everything operated by a third-party vendor, as I mentioned previously, allowed a lot of firms to start up very quickly, reliance on such a system without full back-end control actually brings quite a lot of limitations. And those limitations are more noticeable when your company reaches a certain level of establishment that it's already a successful business. And once you're in that position, it's very hard to overcome and move forward from that. So with a back-end first platform, meaning that the core of the system is actually the back end rather than the front end interface, brokers have actual control over the direction of their business, and they're not constrained by their service provider. For example, front end first platforms by default means that your business is simply a white label of the service provider. And important components that you want to operate, such as mobile apps, are under the control of the service provider. With a back-end first platform, you can scale your business exactly as you wish, and you can actually add services and integrations as are needed. So that's not to say, of course, that anybody should be in a position where they want to reinvent the wheel and start doing things which are completely out of scale, out of scope. But it is vital that brokers have the systems available to be able to rely on the universal back-end technology to which those front-end platforms must be connected. But they would be used purely as a front-end product, and the flexibility would come from having the back-end as a core of your broker's operations. So one of the things that's important to consider with that is the way this allows you to differentiate in the marketplace. So the TraderEvolution platform is a fully white-labeled system. So in a crowded market where there are lots of brands that offer similar services via a small pool of providers, something that's actually been an issue for quite some years already, white-labeled software allows brokerages to offer a unique customized solution under their own brand. This differentiation can be a key factor in attracting customers who seek a distinct and personalized experience, and ensuring that brokers are recognized for being unique in the way that the large brokers that developed their own platforms and went to great lengths and development resource hungriness to be able to do so. That, of course, leads to customer loyalty. And in parallel, brokers can connect other platforms to the TraderEvolution back end and leverage the popularity of those other platforms. There are a number of brokerages which have built their business by using a familiar front end and are able to continue to do so. In these cases, those front ends are very much still in place, but the TraderEvolution back end is being used as the core of the trading system. In cases like this, our back end, the TraderEvolution back end, gives the broker full control over their business, whilst at the same time ensuring continuity of their existing business via the familiar front ends that their clients recognize and have developed some kind of brand loyalty towards. So that goes hand in hand with customer trust and credibility. It's really important in an online business such as the electronic trading industry to develop some kind of trust between the broker and the end client, because it's an online business. There's no shop front. Your interface is the shop front. So when customers interact with a fully white labeled software, they associate the positive experience directly with the brand that's actually issuing and promoting that product. This association of product and brand builds trust and credibility, and customers are really more likely to engage with a brand they recognize and trust. So the TraderEvolution platform, being a fully end-to-end white label product, that means that when a broker runs any form of promotion or approaches its clients in a certain way, the broker is promoting its own brand and its own business, and therefore it's developing its own intellectual property and has a value of its own, rather than acting as an agent for its vendor or service provider and simply passing business that way. So to be able to do that and to be able to hold everything in-house like that, that really means that the ability to integrate these front-end services directly is vital. So autonomy and the ability to stand out from the crowd can be achieved by doing just that, by using in-house developed front-end platforms. So a number of brokerage companies have developed their own web-based trading platforms over the years, and some of them have developed their own mobile applications, which have really stood those firms who have done so in a position where their product is recognizable as theirs, and the identity is clear and is recognizable as from that particular company. So should a broker wish to integrate their own in-house developed front end to the TraderEvolution multi-asset platform's back end, we are able to provide a specifically designed and dedicated API for that purpose. That really allows brokerages to be able to use, who have got their own in-house developed front end or their own trading interface, to be able to use the TraderEvolution platform as the trading infrastructure, as the back end of the trading infrastructure. So among our existing clients, there are some financial institutions which have built their own front-end trading platforms, and they use the TraderEvolution back-end system as the kind of core infrastructure of their business. In this case, the in-house developed front-end platform, which is offered by that particular brokerage or financial institution, would be able to display a full set of asset classes on their in-house front end, which is recognizable by their customer, and that full set of asset classes is actually provided by the TraderEvolution back end and therefore displayed on the front end. Whilst this in turn gives the ability to be in total control of liquidity partnerships at brokerage level, operational items such as risk management and client record maintenance, user groups via the back end, of course, but retaining your own brand identity by using the in-house front end and having those display on the in-house front end. So it's actually an even wider issue and well recognized by professionals in the industry. Just as a personal anecdote, just recently, a couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who's worked at Merrill Lynch for 30 years. He's a trader, he's not a technology professional, but he trades fixed income, forex, equities, multi-asset trading, but as a bank trader. And we recently had a social chat, and this subject came up. And he was talking specifically about areas where many platforms miss the mark. And his observations were that there are too many front-end solutions, front-end first solutions, which don't allow proper risk management or custom control of adding liquidity providers. He highlighted that one of the reasons large banks develop their own systems is not because it's efficient for them to do so. It's quite the opposite, really. It's because they can't get the back-end first functionality from external providers. So the only way for them is to have a very resource-hungry way of maintaining their own systems. So when you're looking at other areas where you can have independence from third-party brands and be able to distribute your own product in a way that you wish to do so, one of those things is mobile, and of course mobile is a big thing now. There's a lot of mobile first platforms around. So by distributing mobile apps from your own brokerage profile, that eliminates the association with third-party brands. This level of independence is really crucial for brokers looking to build a distinct identity and maintain control over how their services are presented to clients. So again, there's a marketing aspect here as well, distribution and marketing aspect. So that really comes down to brand promotion. When brokers distribute mobile apps through their own profile, they showcase their own brand prominently. As I said earlier, it is your shop front. It's everything. It's the interaction between the web interface and the mobile is the showroom of the brokerage. So by doing so, by having an app which is a direct representation of your brokerage, and it features the broker's logo, branding elements, tailored messaging, this creates a seamless and consistent brand experience for users. So with such mobile apps distributed directly from the broker's profile, the users of those apps, the traders, will associate that app directly with the broker's brand, which enhances brand recognition and fosters a sense of trust and familiarity among clients. Therefore, users, traders, are more likely to engage with an app that reflects the brand that they're already familiar with. So that really is it's a combination of marketing and technological requirements in that respect. So in terms of moving back a little bit towards the kind of operational side of things, having a back-end first platform is really vital when looking at the ability to have full access to the data that's generated by your client's trading activity. So one of the virtues of owning your own trading infrastructure, which you would be doing by having the TraderEvolution back-end deployed onto your own infrastructure, you own your own trading infrastructure like that. So having that comprehensive solution it actually provides a wholly owned environment for businesses to have operational purposes such as business intelligence, data privacy, the use of artificial intelligence, which is the next big thing that's coming up now, and to ensure that all client data and records are kept within your brokerage and are therefore your intellectual property, and you're not acting as an agent for someone else, and your intellectual property therefore being based on somebody else's infrastructure. Data is a hugely valuable part of any brokerage business, and actually over the years, brokerages that have been able to successfully float their business on stock exchanges and become public listed companies via IPOs, or have been able to sell their businesses to other companies, those have been brokerages which have developed their own comprehensive back-end system and trading environment, so that the items of value, which is the brokerage's client base, are actually hosted internally. When you look at that from an intellectual property point of view and a corporate value perspective, even very large brokerages with huge monthly revenues have not been able to float on any stock exchange, because if they're reliant on a third party to process all of the client's data activity, then it's very, very difficult to float a business that has all of its client base on someone else's infrastructure. Because if then the due diligence, if you want to float or sell or do any form of M&A, then the due diligence inspectors from, for example, Pricewaterhouse, the auditors will come and they will look at your business and they'll say, where's the intrinsic value? And if the intrinsic value is on someone else's business, then you don't have any intrinsic value, which means there's nothing to value for a flotation or an acquisition. So you can't build and scale a valuable business without having everything on your own infrastructure. And I think that is something which has been talked about a lot over the years, especially including by me. And it has been recognized, but is something which is still a little bit of an elephant in the room, I would say. So the second point here that I'd like to move on to is asset class versatility. Aside from all the corporate value and recognition and autonomy in the marketplace, having asset class versatility is vital. By that, I mean the ability to work with any asset class on any market globally. Operating your business with a full end-to-end trading platform with genuine multi-asset capability as its core design ensures a robust support for various asset types, whether those are over-the-counter or listed, including stocks, bonds, options, futures, forex, even cryptocurrencies. This kind of holistic approach allows traders to access a diverse range of financial instruments seamlessly. TraderEvolution was actually designed from the ground up with the capability to handle multi-asset trading environments. It's therefore the opposite of platforms that have been adapted by third parties or external components to handle a multi-market trading environment. Therefore, there's no need for fragmented systems or to add components from external providers to be able to make a system that wasn't designed for multi-asset capability into a multi-asset system. TraderEvolution does this with any market on one account without the need to have to put together extra components to be able to do so. So across the world's financial markets, trading environments vary. Executing venues are very different all around the world, and the way asset classes are traded is not uniform. By serving clients from different regions and jurisdictions, that allows us to aggregate the specific circumstances and criteria from all those markets, which makes TraderEvolution the most universal platform in today's world as an independent technology. So how that works is everything is on a unified cross-margin account. So there's one cross-margin account for all instrument and asset types. So there's asset class versatility in that respect, enables the use of single account for all of these particular asset class instruments. Traders who use a system that's got TraderEvolution as a back end can manage their positions and margins efficiently. It reduces the complexity and provides a unified user experience across diversified asset classes. So the TraderEvolution platform's ability to work with any asset class on any market therefore ensures global accessibility to all markets without restrictions that might otherwise be imposed by platforms or third-party providers. This approach makes TraderEvolution one of the most versatile and globally accessible trading platforms in the world, and allows full access to all markets anywhere in the world across any asset class on one platform without the development cost that would be incurred if a company had to try and build their own independent environment from scratch that would handle a multi-asset market. So of course, once you implement such a thing, there are other aspects. We slightly go back to the marketing aspect here, where the ability to cross-sell is very important. It was recently displayed in Investment Trends here in the UK. They published a report that every 3 months they publish the Investment Trends report. It shows lots of statistics about the industry. And one of the things that I'd noticed this time was that CFD traders, the number of active CFD traders in the UK had declined. Don't have the figures off the top of my head, but it was something like 220,000 approximately in the previous year, that period previous year, to 186,000 in the same period this year. So there was a decline in the number of CFD traders. So having the ability to cross-sell across different asset classes resolves issues like that by opening up opportunities for brokerage companies to sell different financial products and services within a single platform. Instead of using separate technologies for distinct asset classes, a unified account on one multi-asset platform allows brokers to offer a full suite of services to all of their clients. So going back to the CFD matter, for example, CFD traders can then be brought towards listed products and still be on a platform they're familiar with. It's very hard to try to move, for example, if you've got an FX platform and you've got a different one for equities, it's very hard to try to move FX traders who are used to a specific platform onto a totally new platform when they're familiar and they're doing okay with their CFDs, because that's a risk, and it's a risk they might not wish to take. So by being able to move to different asset classes, clients different asset classes on one platform, cross-selling is therefore facilitated. And doing so would mean they wouldn't necessarily need to learn a new platform. That reduces client turnover, and it goes some way towards addressing the current trend of those CFD traders dwindling in numbers, as per the investment trends report that went out just a couple of weeks ago. So, that goes hand in hand with it being able to adapt to market trends and having an agile response to market trends when they come about. Our platform's ability to handle multiple asset classes positions brokerage firms in a position where they can adapt quickly to changing market trends. Whether it's shifting client preferences or emerging market opportunities, adaptable platforms means that brokerage can stay ahead of the curve. For example, one of the trends at the moment that's very noticeable is the appetite for options trading that a lot of companies are now having to add, because this is one of the current on-trend things. So being able to adapt to that and just quite simply be able to offer options across the same unified platform is a way of staying very easily ahead and dynamically ahead of the market trends. And that shouldn't apply to just options. You should be able to do that with any asset class. Now, regulatory requirements is always a very much a consideration that has to be looked at. So some regulators, specifically the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC, and here in London, the Financial Conduct Authority, they over the last few years, I would say at least 10 years, have started to be viewing CFD products as what you might call a zero-sum product. And during that kind of last decade, there's been a bit of discourse within these regulators, led by ASIC and FCA, and that has resulted in marketing restrictions on CFD products. It's quite hard to buy media on certain platforms to sell CFDs these days, which puts up the cost of client acquisition. There are leverage restrictions. In Australia, for example, until 4 or 5 years ago, you could sell at 1 to 500 CFDs. Now it's 1 to 25 or something like that. So it's becoming harder to market this product. And in fact, in some cases, ASIC has gone to the extent of actually closing down some margin forex and CFD companies, because just to make an example of them, to show that it's not something that they approve of. So having a ability to have a product range that includes exchange-listed products with a central counterparty, and engage traders of futures, options, fixed income, equities that are listed on major venues with a central counterparty, as well as a CFD product range, means that regulators will likely be more satisfied that brokers which offer that whole range of products are offering enough of a diverse product range, including products that are on an exchange and therefore not possible to manipulate the prices, that they will view a brokerage without, they won't have that opinion on a brokerage like that. Instead, they would likely just see CFDs as one product range among a range of various well-recognized asset classes, and therefore less likely to clamp down on your brokerage or even the whole industry should even more restrictions on CFD-only single asset firms, which only offer over-the-counter CFDs, where they, rightly or wrongly, the regulator tends to see those sorts of circumstances as where client losses are broker gains. Therefore, regulators insist that CFD brokers print, even looking at where you have to print client losses on their marketing materials if you're a CFD broker, which is really hard to overcome. So by having a full multi-asset offering, regulators are more likely to consider that your brokerage offers genuine market access to its customers rather than operates a zero-sum enterprise. We know that that's not the case, but a lot of regulators are looking at things that way, and this is one way of staying ahead of that. So the third subject that I'd like to move on to is the orchestration of counterparties. So we touched a little bit on that when it comes to plugging in different counterparties and different liquidity feeds. But being liquidity agnostic is really a very advantageous thing to have these days. So that having a liquidity agnostic platform ensures access to a diverse range of liquidity providers, allows brokerages to tap into various markets and optimize trading conditions. This level of versatility is really critical for offering full access to global markets that you want to offer your customers, and executing trades efficiently across a combination of over-the-counter and listed product range in a full multi-asset environment. So to be able to have that level of liquidity agnosticity, you need to really look at it from where your provider is, the roots of your provider. Is it a pure technology provider? Is there any affiliation with liquidity providers or prime brokers on from the technology provider that's offering your service? TraderEvolution is a pure technology provider. We have no affiliation with liquidity providers or prime brokers. Therefore, it operates a conflict-free environment. This platform, TraderEvolution Platform's independence from liquidity providers and prime brokers, eliminates any form of conflict of interest or any potential conflict of interest. Brokers can make unbiased decisions based on the needs of their clients. They can select liquidity sources that align with their business goals without being tied to specific partnerships or without their service provider competing with them for the same clients, which has happened in the past. A few years ago, there was a circumstance that came to light where a well-known service provider started its own brokerage and was therefore competing against its own clients, and it got out, and it was really quite problematic at the time. So those sorts of conflicts of interest can be completely avoided by using a solution from a pure technology provider without any affiliations with any brokerages or liquidity providers. So being a pure technology provider, our remit is to continue to develop the system so that it keeps technologically ahead of the curve and up with all the abreast of current developments. One of those is an ever-growing list of integrations. So we have a commitment to grow our list of integrations, which showcases the TraderEvolution platform's dedication to staying right at the forefront of those industry advancements. By having control over a fully comprehensive back-end system, which is deployed onto your brokerage infrastructure, rather than being subservient to items offered by a third-party provider, the TraderEvolution platform can swiftly integrate with new liquidity providers, new technology solutions, and market venues. This agility ensures that the brokerage remains competitive in a dynamic market landscape. Development work on our side, we do that to guarantee a consistency of the system, and it's our remit as a software company to be able to keep doing that on a proactive basis. So when connecting to the markets, we are here to offer the most comprehensive and free ability to connect wherever you need and however you might need. So you could call that tailored connectivity. The platform, the TraderEvolution platform's flexibility, supports a wide range of connection methods which are chosen by brokerages that use the platform. Whether using a bridge or opting for a direct certification with an exchange, brokerages that use the TraderEvolution platform have the freedom to select the most suitable connection method based on their specific requirements and preferences, and of course, regulatory considerations. Maybe a broker is already using a bridge to connect to the markets and needs to aggregate their flow across different platforms. Perhaps some brokerage would be interested in connecting directly with their executing venue, or with their prime broker. Some clients that we have are already exchange members, so what they generally tend to do is to request that we certify the platform directly against the exchange's native API. So offering various connection options allows brokerages to provide customized solutions to their clients. This level of flexibility ensures that the platform can cater to the requirements of a diverse clientele, including those with the unique connectivity needs or specific technological preferences. So, of course, that leads on to how to stay right at the forefront of market trends. So it is a fast-paced world we live in, and that's been the case ever since the dawn of electronic trading. So staying on the edge of those market trends is critical for success. TraderEvolution provides several facets which empower retail electronic trading brokerages to remain right at the front of those market trends, one of which is a client API for the B2B integration of third-party or in-house front ends. So our robust API is tailored specifically for B2B clients. It's a seamless integration. It allows seamless integration of, where B2B clients, like brokers, for example, can integrate their own front ends with the TraderEvolution platform, which I covered a little bit briefly earlier. This level of flexibility ensures that brokerages can offer a customized trading experience to those clients by aligning specific market trends and user preferences without restrictions imposed by service providers or vendors. So that our client API facilitates the creation of bespoke front-end solutions, enables brokerages to adapt their business models to changing market dynamics. Therefore, looking at the ability to integrate dynamic third-party front-end tools is really important. So by dynamic tools, I mean specific items that are needed in the platform that can update themselves very quickly and that are tools that can be used by traders that are quite recognized. And those should be able to be directly integrated into the front end. TraderEvolution's platform is really going beyond the conventional remit of standard front-end first solutions by allowing the integration of front-end tools which have been developed with dynamic capability to be directly integrated into the front end of a brokerage. Having the ability to integrate various front-end tools from third-party companies is a very valuable method of enabling your brokerage to provide preferred components within your own trading environment. Here's an example from a long time ago now. Saxo Bank went down this route about 8 years ago, I think it was, 2016, 17, something like that, with the Open API solution that they launched. At the time, Saxo Bank heavily marketed this as a USP. Back in 2016, something like that, at its launch, the idea was that it should be used as a flexibility. It's like a flexibility tool to suit the purposes of various clients and financial institutions which operate differently to each other, as well as white label partners. But of course, that allows fully open connectivity and allows all manner of third-party tools and apps to be integrated in front-end trading environment. But of course, it's still got a broker behind it. It's not an independent technology. An example of this, which is a really recent example, is the ability to integrate with TradingView. So TraderEvolution's platform supports seamless integration with TradingView, which is, I believe, I think it's the world's largest social network and charting resource in the retail trading industry. I think so. So it has a big social community. It's quite trusted for market insights. Being able to integrate TradingView and its charts directly into the platform reduces marketing costs by giving your broker access to the largest social network and charting library in the business, which the users of TradingView trust the resource for the market info, and they can use TradingView as they normally would, but they can also execute trades directly through the TradingView system, which means that your brokerage by default gets the execution business from users of TradingView. They might not necessarily be that interested what the broker is they're trading with. They will be more interested in the functionality that they can actually execute from TradingView their trades rather than have to use two separate systems for it. This means that it solves two problems. One is the churn and burn status quo that's achieved by digital marketing and user acquisition through media buying, where you have to nurture new clients. It's very expensive and difficult. The other aspect is that you're getting longer term customers because they're TradingView users who have been on TradingView for quite some time and therefore are familiar with trading and they're familiar with TradingView, basically just happy to be able to execute on TradingView as well. So that's a good example of use of how to integrate a dynamic front end. So leveraging that particular community, traders can access shared charts, trading ideas, market analyses, foster a collaborative and informed trading environment. This type of integration aligns with the market trend of leveraging social and collaborative elements for enhanced decision making. So that's pretty much the four areas where I think are currently issues that are hot topics that could be examined. So to summarize, it's very clear that a number of brokerages are now at a stage where where the development of maturity of the brokerage they've got to is stable. And there are some of them, quite a few of them, successful businesses. However, the need to differentiate themselves from the competition and move on from the single asset class origins which got them this far in the first place is now really important in order to evolve and not become stagnant, or to lose vital business to newer and more dynamic competition from outside the traditional margin trading industry, such as Robinhood, which apparently is coming to the UK very soon. This has got a lot of coverage when it first launched in the US because of its commission-free stock trading system, which was offered in a totally proprietary platform designed for the modern world. So traders came, now a few years have gone by, traders coming to the world of traditional asset classes like futures and equities and stocks, forex, from the crypto world or from apps like Robinhood, are used to these intuitive platforms which are key differentiators between exchanges and often very modern and very user-orientated. If they're then faced with a not so intuitive and limiting platform when they go from that to traditional asset classes, it could be an off-putting matter. So remaining dynamic and being able to attract those type of new customers is very important. It's also good practice and an important step for brokers to take to invest in their technology. In doing so, they're investing in their future, in their independence, now and going forward, and placing control of their current and future business into their own hands, rather than being reliant on another entity which has no stake in the broker's business, but yet has control over it. The question is, do you build your own, or do you buy one or lease one that's already existing? TraderEvolution, we take the best of both worlds. Building a platform is a good idea. Building your own from scratch, I mean, is a good idea. Stands your broker out, makes them in a leadership position, rather like the large, often publicly listed firms like IG Group and Interactive Brokers and so forth that have done this from the outset. But it's very resource intensive. I mean, I've recently, CMC Markets about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it cost them $100 million to develop their own trading platform and about £200,000 a month to support it. It's very expensive. They went public, used some of the public money to fund it. We can actually give you the same result, but because we're a software company, you don't have those development costs or time to market. We've already done that. We would provide the absolute same result, and there were no hidden costs, no affiliations with liquidity providers or prime brokers, no brokerage business tied to the platform. We don't engage in any brokerage activities at all. Just give the full solution to be able to be open and as free as possible for you to choose how you want to run your business. Now, some of the methods I've covered in today's workshop are achievable by solutions available from various different vendors, but only TraderEvolution combines them all together and then provides a totally independent and complete end-to-end solution. It is therefore the most universal and comprehensive solution on the market today with which to operate your brokerage. So hope that was useful, and I'd now like to invite anybody who wants to ask any questions. Thank you very much. All the best. I'm sorry about my voice. I apologise for that. Hope it was okay.